Good evening. I'm calling this meeting to order at 4:13 p.m. Ms. Vaughn.
Ms. Foster,
Yes.
Mr. Conover, Mr. Hikes, Ms. Jones, Mr. Marston,
Yes.
Ms. Hubbard,
Yes.
Dr. Collins Adams.
Yes.
We have a quorum.
We'll now begin our meet and greet run of show. Vice President Hubbard.
Welcome. Thank you all for coming. You had it twice. We're here to welcome our new board members and introduce them to the cabinet. And so, Ms. Foster, Mr. Marston, Dr. Collins Adams, we're very glad y'all are here. And I think I was asked to share my why. And I'm on the school board because I love the children of St. Louis. I wouldn't have talked to so many strangers if I didn't. And so our new board members have a term from 2025 to 2029. And now I will share the list of board committees. So the MSBA delegate is Donna Jones, Emily Hubbard, and AJ Foster is the alternate. The MSBA director is Tracy Hikes. The public school retirement system is Candace Carter Oliver, Christina Bennett, Emily Hubbard, and Kimberly Johnson. The TIF commission is Ben Conover and Kimberly Johnson. The LRA is Tracy Hikes. The Standing Committee on Budget Equity and Transparency is AJ Foster, Chair, Donna Jones, Community Member Susan Turk, Ray Cummings, Kimberly Johnson, and Teresa Danley. The Audit Committee is Kimberly Johnson, Dr. Karen Collins Adams, Emily Hubbard, Dr. Owalabi Tiamiu, and Kelly Genge. Is that right? Okay. As well as Katrina Hubbard, Marion G., and Amy Bolge. The board governance, AJ Foster is the chair, and also Emily Hubbard and Ben Conover are there. The real estate committee is chaired by Tracy Hikes. Also there are Brian Marston, Dr. Millicent Borchade, Kimberly Johnson, Shamika Henry, and Square Watson. The legislative committee is chaired by Dr. Karen Collins Adams with Ben Conover as the co-chair. Also on the committee are Dr. Millicent Borchade, Dr. Barry, Byron Clemens, Kimberly Johnson, Patrick Charles, Gloria Nolan, Dr. Allison Dino, Tracy Fantini, Stephen Carroll, and Dr. Isaac Pollock. The Prop S committee is a subcommittee of the Budget Committee, and it is co-chaired by Tracy Hikes and Square Watson. Kimberly Johnson is on it, as well as Lakeisha Bosley, Pam Boyd, Shamim Clark Hubbard, Ray Cummings, Terrell Baker, Brian Marston, Jason Johnson, Gloria Nolan, Keith Norway, Rachel Seward, Patrick Charles, and Susan Turk. The Starwood Advisory Committee is Tracy Hikes. The Communications Committee has Donna Jones, Gloria Nolan, and Brian Marston on it. And Dr. Karen Collins Adams will be our representative at the Council of Great City Schools. Thank you. Now I will turn it over to our new board members, starting with Dr. Karen Collins Adams.
Good evening.
Tell us your why.
It's on. Test. Yeah, it's on. Do I go back to saying the same things that I said when I was in the running for school board office? I mean, I think you've heard it in ward meetings or the introductions all over the city. And the write-up that's already posted to the website. I have many years of experience in education, and I'm so pleased to be able to use my voice to be, to connect to the community that I live in. And I am very pleased to be able to work with the board members that have been elected to this board. They all seem to be full of energy and positive for change, so I'm happy with that.
I'm here for a lot of overlapping reasons, but it starts with the belief that to whom much is given, much is expected. I'm just very fortunate, and I've got everything I want or need, and so I feel a duty to give back through community service, and I think the place where I can make the biggest impact is by helping all of the students in SLPS reach their full potential, especially those kids for whom SLPS is their best shot at a better life. There's really no better way to make a difference than through our public schools. And for anybody out there watching this, most of y'all in the room are already deeply involved in this even, but for the folks out there on YouTube or who might be reading in the paper, I encourage everyone to find a way to get involved with our public schools, whether you're a parent or not, to help out.
Hey everybody, I'm AJ Foster. If you're looking to pronounce my first name, it's pronounced Elisa. If you don't want to call me AJ, that's fine. But my why is that I am a native of St. Louis, a product of St. Louis Public Schools, and I am the definition of a portrait of a graduate. And I think it's important that we allow our students, both recently graduate and even current students, have a voice in a lot of the decisions that are going to impact them day to day. I have watched the district for years outside of attending the district and graduating, and I'm just honored to work with you all. I'm honored to work with our school board and our superintendent to really bring, change and give a voice to the voiceless. But I'm happy to be here, and I'm just one email away if you ever want to chat.
So thank you so much. I am Dr. Millicent Porishade, the superintendent for St. Louis Public Schools, and my why, I really and truly believe that every student is capable of learning. And so every day I show up leading the charge where we are providing resources, we're providing strategies, we're providing support so that our students can each and every day believe in themselves and know that when they leave St. Louis Public Schools, whatever it is that they want to do, that they are capable of doing it. At this point, I am going to introduce my cabinet members. Dr. Dino, and each of them will have an opportunity to share their why. They will take a minute and a half at most to share their why.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Allison Dino. I am the Chief of Schools. My why in supporting students in SLPS is to have what they need to reach their dreams. Overseeing the academic division, one of the values that really speaks to me a lot is joyful and engaged students. We need to curate experiences for kids that keep them joyful and engaged with their learning, and that then can spark more dreams and hopes for them. If students can embody all of the competencies of Portrait of a Graduate, when we are able to support the structures and systems in place that are focused to make sure that they can get there. And so within academics, we need to focus on those at all times because, again, we want every student to be joyful and engaged. They come to school every day, ready and excited to learn, because that's how we know that they will have lots of opportunities as they move forward. Thank you all.
Thank you. Ms. Natasha Mitchell, who is our Chief Technology Officer.
Good afternoon. So my why as Chief Technology Officer is to ensure every student in St. Louis Public Schools has access to secure, innovative, and equitable technology that empowers learning, expands opportunities, and prepares them for success in a connected and digital world. We're living in the midst of the fourth industrial revolution, an era defined by the fusion of artificial intelligence, automation, robotics, and digital connectivity. In this rapidly evolving landscape, it's not enough for students to be passive users of technology. They must be empowered to create, invent, and lead with it. Through purposeful technology integration, we will equip students with the critical thinking, collaboration, and digital fluency skills needed not just to navigate the future, but to shape it.
Ms. Kimberly Johnson Miller, who is our Chief Financial Officer.
Hello. My why is very simple. I'm a product of Chicago public schools. I grew up in the inner city of Chicago, and I was not supposed to be standing here if it was not for the grace of God, loving mother, and countless teachers and principals who supported me in the public schools. That's my why.
Thank you. Dr. Berry?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
This is going on my 20th year with St. Louis Public Schools, and believe me, there is no better place than SLPS. My why is grounded in the belief that SLPS continues to submit and bring out the greatest and most dedicated staff and students there ever has been. I believe that every great student is backed by a great educator, in turn backed by a great administrator. And it is my role to ensure that SLPS continues to invest in the greatness that we continue to produce. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Charles K. Poole. He's our Executive Director for
That big feat.
Communications.
So my why is that the education I got in the public schools propelled me into boardrooms and sometimes even the back rooms of politics and other areas of interest. The kids who go to schools like the St. Louis Public Schools have a chance to fulfill their potential. And where I'm here is to help this institution, help those students, help the teachers, help the community grow into that potential in very finite ways. When I come to work, it's because I want to be of assistance. I left corporate America because it was boring me. This does not bore me. It inspires me, and sometimes it challenges me. But when we get through at the end of the day, we help the kids, and that's the why, I think, for all of us.
Thank you. Mr. Square Watson, who is our Chief Operations Officer.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So, again, as Dr. Berry, been in the system, working for St. Louis Public Schools for over 20 years, and served in different capacities from academics now to operations. The why is rooted on what I would like to call my purpose, my passion, and my presence. Just being there, being able for our scholars to see what professionalism looks like, and also giving them an opportunity as we support academics, as we support the teaching and learning in all of our facilities to make sure that they're successful at the end of the day. And just by showing up, by being present, by mentoring, and just being able to say and plant seeds in the minds of our youth so that at the end of the day, they would be able to see, they would be able to say that they had the best facilities and the best when it comes to operations and support and education. So that's my why.
Thank you. Ms. Laura McLaughlin, our General Counsel.
I think I'm the last up because I'm the blood-sucking attorney, so no, I'm kidding, jokingly aside. Good evening, my name's Laura McLaughlin. I'm the school district's General Counsel, Chief Legal Officer. My why, I've been in education, I've supported through my legal profession, colleges and universities, and now the K through 12 world since 2008. I'm mission-driven. I rarely get to touch students, but where I feel that I contribute, my why is to make you all the best board, the best cabinet, the best administrators that we can so that we can provide the best education to our students. That's my why.
Thank you. Dr. Smith is not with us today, but she will be joining us at our next board meeting. We have Dr. Hubbard, who is our Director of Compliance and Internal Audit.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Like Mr. Poole, I came from corporate America, and my why for being here is to wake up every morning knowing that I come to work and utilize my knowledge and my skills to foster the success of every young scholar in our district. I am happy and elated to be on this team and working to improve our school district in whatever way necessary, and that's what I'm here to do.
Thank you. Kelly Ginge, who is our Fiscal Controller. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Kelly Ginge. As Dr. Borshade said, the Fiscal Controller. My why is I've been in public education for 22 years now, so I've dedicated pretty much my entire career to public education, and I really enjoy the environment that I have the opportunity to work in, and I really enjoy working in schools, and specifically SLPS, because I get to come to work, and the goal at the end of the day is to be able to provide resources to our students, our staff, and the departments so that our kids can be successful and learn in a comfortable environment and have the things that they need to go out and grow. So, thank you.
Thank you. So now you've heard from all of our cabinet members. I'm going to just share a few of our key initiatives. And I laugh because although transportation isn't a key initiative, it is an initiative. So transportation is one, and making sure that we get transportation right. Literacy for the Lou, making sure that we have an opportunity to share resources for all of our students as it relates to reading and empowering our students to become better readers. The other one is Reading and Writing Initiative, where we have worked with initially 6 schools, and now we're at 12 schools. I want to say that their work is still posted upstairs on our 3rd floor in the PD loft, where our students started writing, and they began with 1 page of writing in response to a prompt, and at the end of the year, they have been able to develop and grow into readers and writers, and so that is another initiative that we have started and hope to continue. The Parent University is another initiative where we have had an opportunity to provide resources and classes to our parents, where they would come once a month to learn more about what it means to be empowered as a parent. And then Z-Space is another initiative where we have turned science into a digital atmosphere, if you will, for students, and they are really, really excited about being able to go into another sphere when it comes to Z-Space. The summer board retreat is going to take place June 2nd and June 3rd, and it's going to be hosted by MSBA. And now we will turn it over into our finance presentation. We are going to do this as part of our finance onboarding. Ms. Johnson shared a presentation yesterday, and I want her to begin with that presentation so that we have a true connection as to why it is important that we have eventually a balanced budget and what it takes to get there. Ms. Johnson, I have the clicker.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We're going to start with the budget exercise. Yeah, there it is. All right, good afternoon, Board. President Collins Adams, Vice President Emily Hubbard, other board members, cabinet, staff, and stakeholders. Good afternoon. I had the pleasure over the last 3 or 4 weeks to hold some community budget forums where we discuss the process of building a budget. In those forums, we had some interactive questions using the QR codes, and we were able to have you have the opportunity to determine what is allowable versus what is non-allowable. On yesterday, we had a community budget forum where we presented now the actual components of the budget. And in that, we had an exercise called Build Your Budget. And I'm going to ask for your participation today. I promise you it's going to be fun. There's no wrong answers, but this gives you the opportunity to kind of walk in our shoes as we're building our budget for FY26. So what do you have? You're going to start off with $1,000. There are 5 essential areas you must support with that $1,000. The first is salaries. I want you to take into considerations that salaries usually make up anywhere between 70 to 80% of our budget, but for this budget exercise, we're saying that it typically runs 60% or $600 total. Second area you have to take in consideration is your benefits. This includes your health insurance and your retirement contributions. We are saying that we expect that salaries and benefits are expected to increase by 5% or $50 of the total budget. Third, purchase services, which are things like your transportation, your technological support, and your contracted staff. We are expecting that to run typically 10% or $100 of your budget. Then we have supplies and materials, such as textbooks, papers, and classroom tools. And we're saying that for your budget, it's typically going to run 15% or $150 of your total budget. And last but not least, we have your capital outlay. These are things for your facility improvement and equipment purchases. We're saying that typically is going to run 10% or $100 of your total budget. Again, you have $1,000. I'm going to ask that you step down, use your smartphone, build your budget. I will also pass it out in terms of paper. And I'm going to give you 7-8 minutes to determine and build your budget. That sounds like fun? All right, let's start. Everyone is invited to get up as well, please. Did you get it? Did it work? I gave you paper copies as well, and the information is on the monitors. You have 7 minutes. Oh, 4 minutes left. I stand corrected. All right, you guys are working? Well, guess what? Emergency alert, emergency alert, emergency alert. You have just been notified of an unexpected situation where one of the school's boiler heating system has failed. It's in the middle of the winter, snow is expected, cold temperature, and your emergency repairs are going to run $600. You have an extra $500 from your fund balance, not really extra, but it's used for emergency situations. But again, your cost to replace this heating system is $600. So you now have to make one or two important decisions. Number one, will you reduce from your planned budget, that's your $1,000 that you got, in one or more areas to absorb this unexpected emergency? Or two, will you use part of your fund balance to cover your costs? You got 3 minutes.
Look who's talking with the shoes.
Chief Square says, Chief Watson said we need it by tomorrow, so he's putting the pressure on you guys. Emergency.
That's true, that is true.
Two minutes on the clock. I know. I love this part. Yeah. I'm trying to do that.
We should have had a recording of the fire alarm. Somebody really scared them.
I'm trying to really put it.
That is such an anomaly. I know.
All right, we're going to say time. Pencils down. I always wanted to say that. So I'm going to ask for the board's participation in answering the questions. With this emergency situation, tell me how you use your $1,000 for your planned budget, and how are you going to cover this emergency, and your why. So I would like to start with President Collins Adams.
I have a principal's voice, I can go across this room. I'm leaving the salaries intact because our employees are, that's valuable, and we've probably negotiated to that point, so we need to leave that intact. Which would then, because if we have salaries, we're gonna have to keep the fringe benefits at, in that line item. Materials and supplies, because we have to be able to foster education in the classroom, so that keeping that 150. And then the capital expenditure, because our buildings need to be able to run the way, efficiently, I would leave that in. So the thing that I would cut would be the $100 of the purchase services, because that we may be able to live without if we have everything else, and then add that to the $500 fund balance that we have in order to be able to cover an emergency.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's start with Vice President.
I kept your jobs.
Vice President Emily Hubbard.
I agreed with Dr. Collins Adams and did not cut salaries or benefits, because that would be a lot of headaches. And I was still working out the math because I was doing it in my head, but I wanted to use $400 of the fund balance and then take some from the 3 other categories. I was shaving off one at a time to figure out when I would get to the right number, but I hadn't gotten there for sure yet.
Okay, thank you. Brian?
So I would use the $500 fund balance plus 10% from each category to keep it all proportional. So $65 from the salaries and benefits, and then 10 from the services, and 15 from supplies and materials, and 10 from capital expenditures, and that way it keeps the percentages all the same.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Foster?
Okay, so I asked a friend and a colleague for help and support because I believe in teamwork and collaboration. So what I would do is, after talking to Superintendent Borshade and getting recommendations from our chief, who is the expert, I have also taken a few percents from capital expenditures, our supplies and materials, and purchase services. And while it gives me a tear up that I don't want to use all of our fund balance, but I ended up using it all and getting $100 from other places.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Tracy?
I feel kind of good up here with all these well-educated people. I decided to use the 500, and I'm taking 2% from purchasing services, 5% from supplies. Of course, I left the teachers, and insurance, all that, I left that alone. And then I'm taking 3% from capital expenditures.
Okay,
So that should give me my 600, and everybody's happy.
thank you. I would like to do someone in the audience. Anyone, please?
Well, we for sure use the fund balance.
Okay, okay. Did you use all or some?
All.
Okay.
Because the boots on the ground know how important them salaries are.
Okay.
They also know how important them copy quotas are.
Okay.
So maybe like the purchase services taking from there, because there are parts of that we could potentially work around or live without to get through the tough times.
Okay, thank you. I would like to ask the superintendent to talk about, she did this exercise yesterday, so I would like for her to tell where she made decreases and her why.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. This exercise is just extremely important as we go into our next presentation, but I did take from purchase services. I did not touch salaries, I did not touch benefits, I did touch purchase services. Similar to some of the things that have been heard, we could definitely find some way of going without some of the purchase services. I did take from supplies and materials. We would just have to re-envision how we do or use our supplies and materials. I did not touch the fund balance because Ms. Johnson said that this is an emergency. We're in the dead of winter. We have one school right now that we know of, one school that needs a new heater. We don't know how many other schools may need that same heater or some other emergency that may come up. And that is just the life that we live. where we don't know. And so we have to make those hard decisions. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
I hope this exercise is really designed to show you how the tough trade-offs the school district makes when we're faced with planning a budget. There are no perfect answers, just thoughtful strategy choices. There are no right answers, but except to consider the students at the center of all of our decisions. When our expenditures surpass our revenues, our fund balance is a resource. So thank you guys for participating in this. Please give us information on some more scenarios we can do, and use this as a thoughtful process when we present to you the FY26 proposed budget in a couple of weeks.
And we have 7 minutes for our onboarding presentation. 7 minutes.
All right. I'll just quickly talk about the 2 strategic values of the 6 that I will focus on here. The first is authentic family and community partnerships, and the second is equitable and multiple sources of data. As you have heard, there are multiple strategies and values that support the portrait of a graduate. The finance department supports these 7 key competencies that are used as steps to help build the foundation for portrait of a graduate. More information can be found on these key competencies in our SLPS Continuous Improvement Plan. The agenda real quick, I'll talk about a fund balance. This is just for your information, an overview of year-to-date where we're at in the FY25 budget. Let's talk about the district fund balance. You guys have had an opportunity to see the importance of the fund balance. We ended 23-24 at $231 million. That is what our fund balance was for 23-24 year. We are still above the state requirement of 3%. We are projecting that our FY24-25 fund balance is at $197 million and around 45.43%. We can talk a little bit more about our operating fund balance. Again, this chart shows you. I want to make sure you see the bottom line. As you can see for 24-25, we're projected at $197 million at 45.43%. But when you start at 25-26 upcoming school year, we're still using the estimate of $197 million. However, we're going down in the percentage, which means we're expecting some fund balance spending. However, when you see 26-27, and you're seeing that increase of 44.8%, you're seeing that increase because at that time, we're stating that our budget will be balanced. That means our expenditures will be equal to our revenue, or other way around, revenue, we have more revenue to cover our expenses. This is just giving you an overview of some of the categories of revenue. The biggest portion, as you can see, is our property taxes and sale taxes, transportation, adult education, special education, and Perkins. Our biggest percentage, as you saw in the exercise, is salary and benefits. Normally, that runs anywhere between 70 to 80% of our budget. Again, 70 to 80% of our budget. Under purchase services, you see there are many categories. We have instructional, pupil, and staff services. We have communication, data processing, IT, and tech repairs. Under transportation and food service, if you remember from some of the community budget forms, those are biggest areas, contributing areas in terms of our revenue. Contracted repairs and maintenance, and other professional services. Supplies and materials, again, we're looking at general, instructional, and operational. And then we have capital outlay. Those are our small ticket item that goes into our infrastructure, like our furniture and technology, anything that's greater than 5,000, so I shouldn't say small. Then you have your software, 5,000, and then your land, building, and other improvements. Long and short-term debt, that's our Proposition S funds. As you recall, those are the funds that the community votes on, the voters. The last time the community voted on use of the general obligation bonds is August of 2022, and at that time they approved $160 million in Proposition X funds. Proposition S, sorry, not X. I got my retainers in, so I'm listing here all over the place. And you've heard Chief Watson talk about some of the projects that are being used with those Prop S funds. I won't go into that, but I just wanted to keep that in mind. You guys keep that in mind. When we look at the actual revenue to date, I just want to bring your attention to that all of the categories we have are revenue sources. We have local, county, state, and federal. Right now, year to date, we're looking at about $310 million out of $442 million budget. Again, GOB budget is at $380 million, but total budget with all sources is at $442. That's the budget. Right now, we're at $310 million, which is about 70.2% at this point. When we talk about expenditures, again, we have expended a total of 56.2%. Our budget is at $79 million. Again, looking at the expenditure categories, you have salaries, benefits, purchase services, supplies and materials, capital outlay, and short and long-term debt. Our total amount that we have spent to date is $323 million. Again, that's 56.2% of the budget. We talked about our fund balance plan spending. Again, 23-24, we're at $231 million, which is 52.84%. When we talk about our budgeted revenue, we're at $345 million. Our budgeted expenditures is $380 million. So the expenditures are more than the revenue coming in expected, which leaves a fund balance spending of $35 million. Again, the fund balance is still being calculated because we're currently in FY25. Just real quickly, I want to talk about the federal funding impact. $48.7 million is our general fund grant impact. Of that, our federal grants is 13% of the GOB budget. As you can see, some of our top contributors are food and nutrition at $19.7 million, $6 million. Then you have our Title I, II, III, and IV at $16.7 million. Then you have your Title I-A comprehensive at about 2.8, and then your IDEA at 5.3. The next couple of slides just give you a little bit more information on what those grants actually cover in terms of programs and initiatives. And I won't go through all of those, but that's for your review. Financial summary, again, I think we stated this over and over again, but the data is showing we are in a strong financial position. We have anticipated unrestricted fund balance ending in 2024-25 of $197 million, which again is 45%, and above the 3% requirement of DESE. We're building strategies as we're planning our budget, and some of the higher costs that we're seeing is payroll, the salaries and benefits and pensions. We do know that our benefits are going up due to medical and dental and pharmacy, transportation, special ed, education, and our insurance policies. We are planning and looking at how we're spending our fund balance as we're building our budget. And some of our future concerns that we have, of course, we know that there is a new administration and there are many executive orders that are coming down that will change the landscape of the Department of Education, which will directly affect us. Both on the federal and the state, we have legislation that's being proposed about open enrollment and vouchers, state, and just the uncertainty of any of our funding. Thank you.
Thank you. It is now 5 o'clock. Our next session starts at 5:30, so we can go until at least 5:15. If you have any questions.
I don't have any questions, but that was a really good, thorough explanation of the budget, including the federal portion of it, which people tend to not understand because they don't realize that those two need to work together, and that creates a balance in the school system, so.
Yeah, I have just a really basic question. When does the fiscal year start? July 1. Okay, so I thought.
Can you come up to the mic in case there are some people online listening? Thank you.
The new fiscal year starts July 1 and runs into June 30th of 2026.
I also might have a basic question. But how do we project our revenue?
Well, we kind of use historical data, right? We look at what we received the past couple years, and then we look at programs that we know may be cut. For instance, we do know for our state revenue, we're going to see a $5 million decrease. We know that, so we're budgeting and planning for that. We look at areas of where we can support those major programs. And so we look at historical data, we look at current year data, we look at, like, for instance, how much are you actually spending on a purchase service contract, right? What percentage at this time are you burn rate? Looking at if you still have, let's say, a $5 million, $3 million available, the question is, did we over budget for that? Or can we cut some of that funding to move it somewhere else? So historical data, current year projections and actual expenditures, and then understanding programs and initiatives and potential cuts that's coming down.
Okay, thank you.
Can you also share about state taxes or local taxes?
Well, as you know, local and state taxes make up the percentage of our local budget. And that deals with not only just the property taxes that people are paying and sales taxes, but it also deals with the delinquency of collection of taxes. That's an unknown, that's a variable. We cannot predict how much the state or city is going to collect in terms of property taxes, so we have to try to budget for those unknowns.
And for the last 2 years, we have not collected at 100%. It's been 92 and 93% for the last 2 years. Say that out loud.
Please pay your property taxes.
Yeah. Because that directly helps the school system, district.
Just another question. It's not on here, but is there anywhere we can access or find what our like year-to-date expenditures are as far as like our PROPES funds?
Yes, I think we have reports, actual spreadsheets. I'll let Chief Watson talk about that.
We can get that to you.
Yeah, we don't need it now.
Yeah, we can provide that to you.
Cool, thanks.
Okay. And any other data that you guys may need, we're open and transparent, so we can provide that. Just submit to Dr. Borashade.
Mr. Hikes, I see your mic on. You have a question?
All right, thank you very much.
Great job. Thank you.
Yes, I see that, and I'm learning to read myself. Thank you, and we will adjourn to closed session. Ms. Vaughn?
Ms. Foster?
Yes.
Mr. Hikes?
Yes.
Mr. Marston?
Yes.
Ms. Hubbard?
Yes.
Dr. Collins Adams?
Yeah.
We are adjourned to closed session at 5.